Today's session with the welcome address of our President, Shri Naresh Patil.
Srimati Vanna Yadav, former presidents, my colleagues in the committee, members and guests of the chamber, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege to be on this distinguished chair at the 125th annual session of our chamber. I express my gratitude to all my predecessors for laying the foundations of resilience that has enabled this great institution to provide uninterrupted services to business, Bengal and Bharat for over 125 years now. I extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all of you. On behalf of all of us at Bharat Chamber, I extend a warm welcome to Srimati Vanna Yadav, IAS, Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal. It has been a proud pleasure for me also to be having acquainted with you for more than 2 decades now at a personal level. We are grateful to you, ma'am, for having spared some of your valuable time to grace this occasion as our guest-in-chief and address this meeting. At this time, when we are celebrating the 125th anniversary, the current geopolitical tensions in West Asia remains a matter of concern. As it is the hub for our connectivity with the Western world, the resulting disruptions in air routes, shipping movements, and logistic networks are already affecting the movement of people and goods, adding fresh strains to global supply chains and trade flows. I hope and expect that dialogue and diplomacy will prevail, leading to an early restoration of peace and normalcy in the region. Fortunately, the Indian economy is sailing well with reassuring sustained growth momentum of about 7%. For the industry, the macroeconomic stability that has been projected in the economic survey and the Central Budget 2026 is quite encouraging because of the expanding domestic market, stable inflation expectations, and disciplined public finances, together creating a favorable environment for fresh investments. Moreover, public capex is rapidly growing in recent years with continued emphasis on logistics, transport, energy, and urban infrastructure, while manufacturing is being supported through GST rationalization, MSME financing, and supply chain strengthening, amongst others. Besides, FDI trends are also encouraging, though not yet uniformly strong across all components. Now we need to convert this improving sentiment into strong private investments, technology transfer, and export-oriented capacity creation. In this scenario, in terms of the budget 26-27 of the Government of West Bengal, the state's GDP is expected to reach about 21.48 lakh crores in 26-27, nearly 5 times the level of 2010-11. The budget has also ambitiously proposed capital expenditure to rise sharply to 41,315 crores from the revised estimates of 26,438 crores in 25-26. Read together, these figures suggest that the state is seeking to move into a more investment-driven phase of growth with stronger emphasis on infrastructure, productive capacity, and long-term economic momentum. I would request Srimati Yadav to share her thoughts on how the state is considering to welcome investment in various sunrise sectors, especially those driven by AI, nanotechnology, machine learning, and reinforce its existing manufacturing foundations while widening its industrial geography. It would also be great help if the state government considers to prepare plans for different sectors in consultation with the industry. The services economy in our state is equally central to West Bengal's growth narrative. The budget highlights the expanding role of IT, digital infrastructure, transport, tourism, and the broader other services segment. The state accounts for 13.09% of India's other services MSMEs. In the context of new opportunities, I would suggest that special emphasis be placed on defense production. Ma'am, blessed with the support of the Department of Defense Production, Government of India, Our chamber has organized 11 outreach programs in West Bengal and other states to popularize the opportunities for the MSMEs in this sector. Importance of defense in our state, as also the Northeast, cannot be understated. A new experience for us in this regard is the warm collaboration that we have developed with our counterparts in other states. Ma'am, it is time that we collaborate to make defense production as an integral component of West Bengal's economic journey. You will be happy to know that our chamber is deeply interacting with educational institutions, an important segment of our membership, to develop model for skill development. In fact, ma'am and I were together addressing one of the leading educational institutions of our city, Loreto College, just a fortnight back. Yeah. We look forward to working more closely with the government of West Bengal to ensure that the alumni of skill development programs are more and more job worthy. Ladies and gentlemen, this year our chamber has organized programs covering a wide range of themes including foreign trade and investments, taxation, finance and the economy, banking, monetary policy and investment trends. Among our key sectoral engagements were the 3-day Agro, Food and Beverages Exposition and Conference held at Netaji Indoor Stadium and the state-level MSME Conclave on Defence Production at Jamshedpur. The Chamber was honoured to receive partnership from the Government of India along with valuable support from the respective state governments for both these events. In addition, 5 international trade fairs were held in Kolkata, Siliguri, Visakhapatnam and Dehradun. Throughout the year, the Chamber also organized several sessions on emerging areas such as artificial intelligence, cyber security, education, environment, global mobility, etc. It was a privilege for the Chamber to have Shri V. Anant Nageswaran, Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India, do the curtain raiser, and Shri Om Birla, Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, to inaugurate our 125th anniversary celebrations. We were also honored to host several distinguished speakers, especially union and state ministers, including Minister of Industries, Government of West Bengal, ambassadors of Ghana and Vietnam, and senior officials from the Reserve Bank of India, AMFI, NSE, and leading global institutions. I am delighted to share with you some new initiative launched by the Chamber this year to commemorate our 125th anniversary and also to make the Chamber more contemporary for young and emerging business leaders who will drive its journey towards its 150th anniversary. The Bharat Chamber Knowledge Series, in collaboration with leading management institutions and consultancies, will satiate the immense learning appetite of our members on emerging trends and transformative ideas on a variety of subjects. Bharat Chamber experiential visits provide members with first-hand exposure to advanced manufacturing and best management practices. No sport is as closely connected with business as golf. Bharat Chamber became the only chamber in the city in recent years to host a golf tournament for its members, Bharat Chamber at 125 Golf Cup. As we celebrate this historic milestone of 125 years, we remain deeply conscious of the responsibility that comes with such a legacy. Our endeavor will continue to be to serve as a constructive bridge between the government, industry and society while encouraging enterprise, innovation and responsible growth. With the continued guidance and support of the Government of West Bengal and the active participation of our members, I am confident that Bharat Chamber will continue to contribute more meaningfully to the economic progress of our state and our country. With these words, I now request Srimati Vandana Yadav to kindly address the session. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Nareshji. All the respected past presidents, members here. Like I always say that I carry a few points to say, but I always end up leaving that aside and talking more like, informally. So, first of all, so thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I apologize and I thank you for shifting the program. I know all of you have done a lot of last minute maneuvering. It would not have been easy. We all are busy people, and with you it is even more important. Time is money. हमें तो तनख्वाह fixed मिलती है, it doesn't matter. But I appreciate the fact that you've taken that effort, and I was very keen to be here just to be able to interact. And being a 125 years of Bharat Chamber is a significant event, so I did not want that we should let go of this opportunity. So thank you for having me here, and again thank you for the last minute rejuggle to make it possible for us to be there. I think my work has been made easier by Patricia ji. He's already mentioned most of the initiatives of the state government, so I'll not repeat those. I think I'll just try to address a few points. The first and foremost which I would like to say is that it's very important for us to have this dialogue, and I'm very glad to have this, because the biggest problem with Bengal, I always feel, is a matter of perception. And most of us, those who are here, realize that given a choice, none of us would move out of here. We don't want to move our businesses out of here. Most people who come and say that, while we are expanding, we don't want to let go of our base here. We would rather continue to work here, live here. So the fact that, we can have these type of interactions when the chambers speak for what they're doing, there may be problems, but if they're able to articulate that, it helps us, it sort of, the perception issue gets addressed, because most people are able to say that, the things are not as bad as they're made out to be. Which is a sad part, that instead of talking positively, we are defending what we are doing, which is not the way we should be going ahead, but then that is what it is. There are a couple of things which I do want to bring to attention in regard to what the government has been doing. The first and foremost, I think, was already touched upon in terms of the infrastructure which has been created. You talked about the GDP growth, you talked about the capital expenditure, etc. I would like to give a very different figure, which is in terms of the physical expenditure or the expenditure on the physical infrastructure. So in the last 15 years, the expenditure which the state government used to do on physical infrastructure creation has increased 11 times. So an increase of 11 times, it is not, that means this is not money which is going into anything else, but it is going into infrastructure creation. Roads are getting better, bridges are being made, physical infrastructure is being improved, and every business, eventually depends on the infrastructure which is there. The time which it takes you to reach your factories, the ease with which you can travel, the physical infrastructure in terms of places for having exhibitions, places for having meetings, the way all these increase our physical infrastructure, it what contributes to not just the urban landscape, but also in terms of the business efficiency. So that, I think, is a very important figure which we often neglect. Nobody somehow doesn't come out as much. So what this is doing, it is enabling us to take care of the logistical advantage. Every time we talk of the locational advantage of Bengal, I mean, people have often said that ये locational advantage तो हमेशा से था. जब से Bengal, it has been here only. The sea has always been closed, the Himalayas have always been closed. So what is it which has changed? That the geographical advantage has become something important. I think the infrastructure development which has happened is making this logistics sector develop further. And eventually now, world over, the logistics has been accepted as the most important enabler of growth. So not only is the physical infrastructure going, what we have also done is we've come out with a policy called the corridor policy. So 6 corridors have been identified by the state. The corridors are, when we are calling it economic and industrial corridors. That is the other thing. I think the nomenclature itself is very significant, because when we talk of industry, we only talk of hardcore industries. But economic activity is not just in terms of the industries. In fact, the sectors which you mentioned, so many of them are economic activities, economic enablers without being hardcore manufacturing industries, IT, tourism, the knowledge economy, these newer sectors which are coming up are all dependent on good logistic connectivity. And this project is being helped, both the logistic development and corridor, by the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. The reason I mention this is that this is a symbol of reaffirmation of their these international bodies' commitment to the state and their belief that the state is doing something good. That is why they're willing to support it. Their procedures and their due diligence in terms of supporting a project is very, very thorough. So when they have come forward to put their money into the state and take up these projects, it is when they're very comfortable of the state's ability to be able to deliver these projects in time. The idea is that we will be developing these corridors, which is against more or less the existing national and state highways, and developing the areas around them to provide common infrastructure. So wherever there is an industrial cluster, we would want to do last mile connectivity, we would want to do common CTFs, STFs with common effluent treatment plants, etc. Increase the power supply in these areas so that it is easier for industry to just go and set up there. So the entire focus is on infrastructure development. Logical, and I think this again, what Nareshji mentioned was very important in terms of the geopolitical situation. See, the geopolitical situation tells us that, while the global connection is very, very dangerous, it can also, at any point of time, things can be dislodged, but a strong, stable logistic setup also helps you to counter those and to be able to take those shocks in the stride. So I think that's where the development of our own logistic network, etc., is going to be very, very important further in the future. So these are some of the initiatives of the state in terms of infrastructure development. One very landmark thing which Bengal has done, which again is something which we always used to say, no, what Bengal thinks today, the rest of the world thinks, or the country thinks later, is this the first state to offer industrial land on freehold basis. Land is one of the most scarce and one of the most difficult resources in the state because of our population pressure, because of the fact that we are a heavy concentration on the land, plus it is so fertile and so rich that for us to be able to take out fertile land from agriculture to industry would be a disservice to the economy as a whole. So what we've done is we are allowing industries to take land on a freehold basis. Whether you're purchasing from the government, whether you're taking it privately or on a long-term settlement from the government, this can be given to you on freehold basis. So the ease of managing that business is much more. So this is one of the few initiatives which have been done by the government. A few other points which I would like to mention is in terms of the, again the thing which was mentioned, the GDP growth. So the GDP growth, I think, is directly linked to the consumer size. We are one of the strongest demographies. So in terms of that, the sheer market size which the state offers. And we are also the fulcrum for anyone wanting to reach out to entire eastern region, northeastern region, etc. So we are a huge base for any consumer goods industry or service. And the important thing is not just the size of the market, it is also the quality of the market. And I think this is something which I feel at a business forum, it is very important for us to say that a lot of time there is certain misgiving in terms of, the social benefits and the state government's human development initiatives. And I feel that, any enlightened or aware industry body would recognize the direct economic impact of investment into social infrastructure, into the human capital, to the economy of the state. If you have well-educated people, if you have healthier population, this is directly feeding into the quality of manpower which is there for not just as producers, as laborers, but also as consumers. So I think it is very important that every scheme, I think, whether it is Lakhi Bhandar, which has shown that, putting 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees in the house, in the hands of the woman, has directly contributed to the consumption in the state. So this is something which we really need to recognize and popularize, that it is not just about an inclusive economy, it is also a higher standard of economy. And what is the type of population do we want? Do we want laborers which is uneducated, which is poor health, which is falling sick every day? Or do we want a labor which is educated, which is skilled, which has better social skills, which has better health indexes, better nutritional level? I think it all feeds into the quality of industry which finally comes up over here. I think these were some of the points. One more point which I would like to, I think the last point which I would want to say is about the emerging sectors, and you mentioned some very interesting sectors, and all of these are sectors which we are also looking at. Defense production is something which we're very keen on. We already have a base, I think, in terms of, the fact that we have metallurgy and forging and engineering and light engineering. Iron and steel has been the rock solid base of the state for the longest time. In fact, even in the worst of the times, these sectors have sustained, survived, and they are the base on which any defense production will happen. So the fact that we have vendors, we have the largest number of MSMEs, just finding the right connect between the market and the suppliers is something which needs to be done. And seminars and done by Bharat Chamber and other chamber repository of information, I think is very, very relevant over here. A lot of good work can be done because of that. Similarly, you talked about food processing. Again, I think a very win-win situation. Not again because we are the largest producer of vegetables, not because we are the largest producer of flowers, but also in terms of the direct impact it has. When I think end of the day, why do any one of us, or especially government, why do we invest in providing industrial ecosystems, etc.? The idea is the benefit reaches the last mile. The benefit reaches the artisan, the benefit reaches the farmer. So the moment food processing industries take off, our farmers get a better return for their produce. So rather than minimal marginalized farming, we have if our farmers, if their produce can go to the tables like ours, if it goes to well packaged thing, wastage is reduced. If it can be exported, the return of that goes to the farmer, and that is the ultimate aim, I think, of everyone. That the not just people in the cities, etc., but the what I think the Gandhiji has said, the last person you can think of. If it can reach up to them, the benefit can reach up to them, that I think serves it. So our initiatives plus the chamber's outreach can actually help in taking sectors like these and giving its benefit to the right set of people. The knowledge series which you mentioned, again, I think is very, very important with the youth of Bengal and the educational institutions which we already have. And knowledge economy being now the buzzword that, we will be, the next era is knowledge economy based. So again, seminars and series on knowledge economy, on how to integrate that knowledge into improving processes, into improving products, is something which will directly yield better result. So these, I think, are very, very topical topics which you have taken up, and these are things where we really want to collaborate with the chambers. So this is my last, I think the purpose of my coming here and my last appeal here would be that continue to reach out and take the government's message and to I would say, bring these sectors together. What is it that the stakeholders require? Be the voice of the industry for the government, so that we can get your inputs, and also be the amplifier of our voice to the people, where the two things can come together. So I think this is a very important bridging role which chambers do, which I'm very glad that you're already doing the very critical sectors, and if this can be increased further, we would be very happy to collaborate in any way. Two of the lighter observations, which first, that good that you mentioned golf. I think the buzzword again is quality of life, and the balance, and all the Gen Z looking at the work-life balance. So you've already achieved that, so very good. I think a 125-year chamber already talking about the Gen Z language of quality of life. Great going. And similarly, I think when I was walking and I realized that you have the Apple showroom in your building, I think a better mix of modernity and tradition cannot be found. So I think you should take it as symbolic of what where the chamber is headed. So I think another 125 years of great going. Wishing you all the best. Continue to grow. Our growth, the state's growth, lies in your growth. And we look forward to working together and hoping that this initiative just carries forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all the observations, the more serious ones for the industry and the business, and also about golf and Apple. Thank you. We acknowledge the presence and appreciate your presence of His Excellency Mr. Bernard Lynch, Consul General of Australia in Kolkata, and Mr. Kevin Goh, Deputy Consul General of Australia in Kolkata. Thank you very much for being a part of this annual session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with the observations of Vandana ji, she's here to answer a few of your questions. If anybody would like to ask any questions, please please come forward. I would request to keep the question as short as possible and avoid making statements. If we can ask questions, that's much better. Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, you made a interesting observation about land bank, and West Bengal is the only state which is now giving freehold land. So is it from the government land which you're selling outright, or you're talking about industrial estates? Or
So both.
I need more clarity
Right,
on
okay.
this, because you are always, as you walked into the room, you spoke about perspective. The first perspective we have is that the present political establishment is against land.
No,
So that's my question to you.
no, so I again, like for the perception, see, the thing is, like, it's a very clear thing, and I mentioned it also, that we have some constraints of land. The simple constraint being that, we are a very, very fertile land. Most parts of the state are very fertile. So to say that a land which grows 3 sets of crops in a year should be taken for industry, I think doesn't make sense from any. And I think the newer challenges as the world is seeing is that, such diversion has not served any nation in the long run. What the state is doing is, we realize that, but while we have certain constraints, we also have certain very good positives, I would say. One, we have large areas which are suitable for industry, which are not so fertile, etc. So we've tried to open up those lands. So all government land which is now being allotted, whether it is in the industrial state or it is what is called the vested land which is given on long-term settlement. Those of you who've taken land from the government would understand there's a concept of LTS, which is long-term settlement of government land. These are being done on a freehold basis. So you get the land in perpetual transfer in your name. So these are the things. This is the specific thing which has been done. Private land, of course, when you buy, so it is a private transfer, so that doesn't affect at all. Similarly, what has also been done is that, for the in North Bengal, in the tea gardens, 15% of the tea garden land or vacant land has been allowed to use for industries or uses which are suitable in the tea gardens. See, it's a very ecologically fragile region, seismic zone in grade 4. Keeping that, but tea tourism, agri processing, so things which are not ecologically harmful, go with the economy, educational institutes, hospitals, social infrastructure, that has also been allowed. So like that, efforts have been made so that wherever land is being given, it is given, one, on a perpetual basis so that you have greater security over that, and second is wherever land can be utilized in the best manner possible, those reforms have also been done.
That was a wonderful question and gave an opportunity to everybody get a clarity on this subject. Time for just one more question. I said couple, so one more. Thank you. Yeah, Hemant, you want to ask? Yes, please.
First of all, Vandana ji, meeting after a long time. And I became already confident because of her. Because when I got this notification, because normally whatever you do with the host country, guest country, final notification you get from the state government. And it was issued by the Under Secretary of Home, and she was the Under Secretary of Home. It was, I think, 2002 or something like that.
Both of you reminded me of 20 years back, which I'm feeling.
That's right.
So one way I'm feeling, it's like a lifetime in the state, and so happy to see such familiar faces. Again, like so many people who are literally grown together. At the same time, also realize how much older I have become.
Same here. So anyway, nice meeting with you. And इनको इनवाइट करते हैं, इनके हस्बैंड को भी इनवाइट किया कीजिए, वो भी अपने चैम्बर के लिए बड़ा यूजफुल है. कहाँ है आजकल?
यहीं पे कलकत्ता में है.
ये IAS का पला नहीं है, इसलिए उनको भी उतारना चाहिए. मैडम, आपने एक दो बातें कही हैं. Perception. I think that is a major issue, and many programs were organized by the chamber and the government. But the perception remains, unfortunately. So हमने बराबर एक बात कही थी कि the best way to remove or lessen the perception about Bengal is to have the success stories. Those who have come here, those who have settled here, who have done the business here, their success story should be made out, should be repeated. It can be done by the chamber, but if it is done along with the government, it makes a huge difference. And there are numbers of such stories in Bengal. Other day, a friend of mine was with me and he said that भाई बंगाल में 2000 करोड़ कैपिटल की कोई कंपनी अपनी है क्या? And when we started counting, there were many, which were very significant. Recently I sent a WhatsApp. Calcutta is the third richest city. My past president, he said, Mr. Sharma, from where do you get this figure? I said, Aajkal there is only one source. Go to the Google and you will get the figure. And he did that. So Delhi is the richest city, followed by Mumbai and then Kolkata. Kolkata is the third richest city in India. People do not have that perception. They hardly believe it. So I think perception is also, I agree with it, very important. I am very happy that you mentioned that the government of West Bengal is keen on defense. I will mention particularly about this because when I was the president, I organized a major defense program jointly with the Ministry of Defense Production, Defense, and all they came here, followed by an exhibition. During that time, I found that the government of West Bengal was lukewarm in their support of government. In fact, I was told this is not our subject, this is government of India's subject. But we followed it. As our president mentioned, that we have large number of programs since then, particularly involving defense in the MSME. So I think I'm very happy that you mentioned about it, and I'll request you that whatever government of West Bengal to do, our chamber will offer all the support, all the services, and please take it. We are all for that. Because there is a huge opportunity in defense sector in Bengal. Now there are, you mentioned about the physical infrastructure, the government role and contributions and all that. Yeah, we find a change. There is no doubt about that, we find a change. There are few things I wanted to mention. One, you said one time, long back, you are developing roads, you are developing godowns, you are developing everything already. Something should be done by the inland waterways. It is very important. There used to be a body called CIWTC, Central Inland Water Transport Corporation in the Government of India. And I was in touch with them, and during those times it proposed that if there is a waterways from Kolkata to suppose Delhi or Amritsar and all that, huge pressure on the roads will come down. It will be much cheaper to do that. I think government of West Bengal should think about it. There are many more things, but the president has given this opportunity for one question. I think I have already asked 3 of questions. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sitaramji.
Not much to say. See, in terms of perception, I will say that it's a persistent problem. It's not just about government saying it, because I'll be very honest, government saying is always taken it with a pinch of salt. There is a felt that, I have often said jokingly, partly true, कि मुझे तो तनख्वाह government की बात बोलने की मिलती है, so that I will say that, and that is the way people will perceive it. It's not just about what I am saying, but word of mouth is the biggest channel when it comes to business decision. No matter what is said in a session, no matter what is said in an event, eventually when a person is coming to put a business, he will talk to somebody he knows personally. That's the only thing, and unfortunately often my experience, and I think many of us have felt, that people who are doing business here, are doing well here, they also, when they're talking one-to-one, etc., do not always talk very well of the state. So maybe may have their reasons, but yes, we are working on it. Hopefully, I think at some point of time, we will not have to start all our discussions with this perception issue. Defense, I'm surprised that you felt that the state government was lukewarm. The initial stages when we were lukewarm was when we were trying to pitch in for defense corridors, and despite all the advantages, none of the defense corridors or the defense bigger programs or schemes were given to the state.
We raised that issue very strongly, opposing the government of India's decision not to have a corridor in Eastern India.
And we have after that been very, very active. In fact, we had a defense exhibition where we fully supported the Eastern Command and the all the defense ministries directly for their event. And I would say that the only time we have an exhibition space called Milan Mela, the Vishwa Bangla Mela Prangan. The only time we have fully let go of the rent, we didn't charge a single thing, was for this defense exhibition. And the CM herself had said that, because it's a defense ra korche, ederke diye dao. Eta amaderi MSME bhalo hobe. Never before or after have we given this. So this was and the last point I would mention, if you talked about waterways, again, since the major work is with Government of India, Inland Waterways Authority of India is the main body, but we are doing a lot of RoRo services, jetty development, etc. along the paths of the rivers. We are also very keen to use the inland waterways as a cargo movement thing, not so that it will again make logistics easier. So,
thank you very much for your excellent responses to the queries, Vannaji. I would like to just highlight a couple of more things in response. One is on defense. You will be very happy to know that one of the MSME conclaves that we organized was specially organized at Havra, so that the MSMEs of Havra can actually participate it as if it's their event actually. And it was participated with some global defense giant manufacturing giants. Did
Airbus, Lockheed Martin, both of them.
Lockheed Martin, Airbus, they all came, and we did it at Havra. So that was the one thing. And recently when we had Jamshedpur, at that time we had Minister of State for Union Minister of State for Defense coming in, and we mentioned that was the right time, because we did first at Havra and then we did it at Jamshedpur, and we propagated a Eastern Defence Corridor. Now, so just to give you an idea that how we are also trying to do our this pitch in for this. And the second thing, and that should feel everybody should have a feel good of this, and especially Vannaji, you. We are, in my profession, we are doing equity research of listed companies. And 10, 12, 15 years back, some of these leading institutional fund managers, they would not, the institutional investors, when we would say, when are you coming to Calcutta, they would say that your part of the country doesn't give us exciting opportunities to look at companies, nothing is exciting enough. Today, they actually queue up to come to Calcutta and meet the managements of companies, and there are so many listed businesses which are investment worthy by institutional investors, domestic and foreign, that this whole perception, perhaps it's the beginning of the change of perception about companies based out of here, and that also credit goes to the businessmen who had that faith. They continue to remain here and built up in the next generation. How they built up very clean businesses actually, so that the whole institutional investors fraternity, they get excited. So I just thought I'd leave this two things for you. Yeah. So now over to you, Rani.
Thank you, sir. We have mementos for our guest in chief, and I would request you to do the honors, please. Can we have the mementos, please? Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for our guest in chief, Srimati Vandana Yadav, the Principal Secretary of the Department of Industry, Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal. Thank you, ma'am. So, now we move on to the last part of our annual session, that is the vote of thanks. I would request our Senior Vice President, Shri Ramesh Agarwal, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Srimati Vandana Yadav, IAS, distinguished former presidents, members and guests of the chamber, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great privilege for me to propose a hearty vote of thanks at the conclusion of this annual session of Bharat Chamber of Commerce. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed guest-in-chief, Srimati Vandana Yadav, IAS, Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal, for sparing some of her valuable time for gracing this occasion, this session, and delivering such an insightful address. Madam, we are deeply thankful to you for sharing your perspectives on the growth and development of industry and commerce in our state. I am confident that with your personal involvement and proactive leadership in advancing the industrial agenda of the state, the industrial ecosystem of West Bengal will continue to grow and flourish. Bharat Chamber of Commerce, now completing 125 years of service, is among the oldest and leading chambers of commerce in India. Since its inception in 1900, Chamber has consistently worked to promote entrepreneurship, improve business practices, and contribute to socio-economic development through initiatives in industry, skill development, rural development, and knowledge sharing. As the Chamber continues its journey of service to the industry and the nation, I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate that Bharat Chamber of Commerce will always pledge its full support to the Government of West Bengal in its efforts to promote industrial growth, facilitate investment, and create a progressive and business-friendly environment for enterprises across sectors. We look forward to your continued guidance and support, ma'am. Lastly, I wish to thank everyone present here this afternoon for joining us and contributing to the success of this annual session. With these words, I would request all of us to join me in carrying a hearty vote of thanks to our guest in chief, Srimati Vandana Yadav, with appreciative acclamation. Thank you.
Now invite you for high tea, and also to announce that today is the AGM, and for the last 1 year the Secretariat has done a fantastic job. Now time for them to take a break. So tomorrow the chamber will be closed. It's going to be a holiday for the chamber. Thank you.